So what was it like being pregnant while being HIV positive? Never in my life did I consider it conceivable to be a mother, let alone be a mother with HIV. Sure, my journey actually starts off the day that I was diagnosed. It was a wild time, of course. Something that I was not expecting was for them to put me on birth control right away. They asked me to lay down on the bed that they have there, and they injected me with Depo-Provera. There was so much going on that I was just like, but I didn't really have a choice. It wasn't like, oh, I think we should do this. They're like, no, we're doing this. The person that I was with at the time that infected me with HIV was actively trying to get me pregnant. I'm really thankful that they did it that way because I'm not gonna lie to you, there are many women that I've spoken to that they found out that they were both pregnant and HIV positive at the same time. So I only did one dose of Depo-Provera because I hate birth control, all birth controls. Honestly, the only one that I did like was in a whole class action lawsuit. Antiretroviral medication that I was on, it was a little blue pill. I don't remember the exact name of it. That pill did not protect the child from HIV infection, which is why they put me on birth control. Once I told my doctor that I was no longer going to be on birth control, I was already undetectable. I became undetectable within 3 weeks to a month. I'm very thankful for that. And at that moment, she changed me to Complera, which was the medication that I was on up until 2 months ago. Now I'm on another medication, and both protect babies from infection. I am not pregnant, but I am not on birth control, and my doctor does not play around with that. And now to me deciding to get pregnant. I got diagnosed in August 2019. And then I met my man, my now fiance, in no, I met him November of 2019, and we didn't get together till February of 2020. And so when we got together, I told him, I'm like, listen, I am not going to get on birth control. So you can't be boop, 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 the club like you are. Plan B is not a form of birth control for me. Like, I'm not going to be destroying my body with more medication that I have no business taking. So either you strap it up, you pull out, or we're gonna have a baby. And you know, we were in the heat of the moment doing what we do, and he was like, babe, let's do this. And I'm like, all right, let's do this. And we did it, and I didn't get pregnant. A part of me wanted to believe that it was because of the Depo, which I do believe that's what it was about. And also my daughter just needed to be born at a certain time, and I'll tell you why in a second. So yeah, part of me was like, oh, the decisions that I've made in my past, like I don't deserve to have a baby. And it's so crazy how we punish ourselves for things that we've done in the past when we can just forgive ourselves and decide a different story for ourselves. It's as easy as that. I promise you, you can have whatever you want if that's what you decide to have. We continued trying. At that point, we were like, okay, this is not a heat of the moment thing anymore. Like, this is what we want. And we tried and tried and tried for 3 months. Time for me to see my doctor again, my immunologist. And I told her what I was going through. And I was just like, we try to have this baby, and the tests keep on coming back negative. Mind you, I had not gotten my period in months, but this is not something that is abnormal for me. She was like, my spidey senses are tingling. Let me take some blood out. And I was like, all right, sis. And a day later, I got that call, and it was that I was pregnant. This is like peak pandemic sort of ish, November 2020. Okay, so I go in for sono. The sonogram is just basically to make sure that the baby is growing inside of like the uterus, inside of the like placenta. Babies that are born outside of it don't survive. It's called an ectopic pregnancy. And so they wanted to make sure that that's not what I was having. So a sonographer, their job is to do that, a sonogram, and that's it. Give the results to the doctor, the nurse, or what have you, and then they're gonna come in and talk to me. She's like, they said that you were pregnant? And I'm like, yeah, girl, I just got the call, and I was so excited. And basically she's like, there's no baby here. There is no baby here. And she shows me there was no baby. And I'm like, she's like, I'm so sorry. I don't know what happened. I don't know if there was a mistake, but you're not pregnant. And I am like devastated yet again. And I'm like, this has been so difficult. Like, I don't understand what's happening. And my man is like, yo, he looks me in the eyes. He grabs me. He's like, babe, we'll try again. We're going to have a baby. We'll have another baby. And he didn't understand. Like, he's a dude. I don't care about having another baby. I care about the baby that's inside of me. This is the baby that I care about. Doctor comes in a few minutes later, like, congratulations. And I'm like, wait, what? And she was like, yeah, like, why are you crying? Like, are you not happy? Like, is this not what you wanted? And I'm like, the lady that just did the sonogram told me that I wasn't pregnant. Like, I'm so confused. What do you mean I'm pregnant? God was really by my side. Like, she was like, wait, why would she tell you that? Like, what's wrong with her? Like, da-da-da. The reason why there was no visible baby is because my doctor did a hormone pregnancy test. So my hormone levels were high for pregnancy. So I found out that I was pregnant like 2-3 weeks after I literally conceived, which is very, very early, maybe even sooner. That's why there was no baby there, like visible baby there, but she was there. Was it an easy pregnancy? No. But was it hard? I wouldn't say so either. I have a different tolerance for things. The first thing that they told me once I found out that I was pregnant is that I had to get induced. Due to the fact that I'm HIV positive, they want to control everything about my labor. I'm undetectable, so there's no risk for transmission in the womb. But another risk for transmission or exposure is when I'm coming out of the womb, because there's a lot of blood, a lot of lacerations, you know, things can happen. They pump medicine, antiviral medication into my IV before I give birth on the day that I'm induced. And then after the baby's born, they put some medication in her as well right away. It seems like, if I remember correctly. And so I went in May 24th, 2021, like at 9 or 10 a.m. I had a doctor's appointment. At this point, I was seeing my doctors like 3 times a week. So I go into the doctor's appointment and I'm like, I'm having contractions. And they're like, yeah. I'm like, yeah. They start monitoring my contractions. My contractions were like 5 minutes apart. Like, child, I was barely like 1 centimeter dilated. They didn't like the baby's movement patterns. She was just like sleeping a lot in my room. And they didn't really like that for her, especially like if she was about to come out. So like she should be like amped, ready to, ready for the world. But no, she was chilling. She was sleeping. She was doing what she wanted to do. They kept me there like, girl, you're not going anywhere. Yeah, you're going to go into labor today. I was so nervous because I knew that I was going to get induced. It wasn't going to be like organic, like the process, you know? If you don't know what being induced is basically they shoot you up with like a burst of adrenaline, like a supernatural adrenaline. So basically my contractions were at 100, literally me being 1 centimeter dilated, which was torturous. Okay. Something that I wasn't mentally prepared for was that once the shot goes in my body, I have 24 hours to push this baby out. If the baby doesn't come out in 24 hours, I have to get a C-section. No one told me that. No one told me that. Like, no, that was the first time I heard about that. And I was just like, wait. Like, I mentally prepared myself for labor, not for C-section. I was like, all right, girl, I guess it's just me and you in this. You better come out. I even wrote a letter to my unborn baby at that time because you never know. Luckily, we're both still here. I had my baby naturally through the canal. I didn't take an epidural for 13 hours. 13 hours of misery and pain and no sleep. My man was being super supportive, don't get me wrong.
You ready for this, champ?
I guess so.
You was made for this.
So unfair.
Better you to me.
Oh.
Remember how I said my baby decided to enter this plane when she decided to enter? The day that I went into labor, like that Monday that they decided to keep me, was the Monday that they lifted the restriction of only one person in the delivery room. So I was able to have both my mom and my now fiance in the delivery room with me while I gave birth. And it was so freaking beautiful. When the doctors that were going to deliver the baby came in, they were like, we've never seen a mom this happy. They were pretty shocked at, you know, how joyous I was. And as I think about it, I start to get a little sad because right before I started pushing, I told them that I'm gonna breastfeed. And they're like, wait, what? No, you're not gonna breastfeed. And I was like, yeah, I am. You guys told me that you didn't suggest I breastfeed, which is something that they mentioned to me when I first got pregnant. Due to me being HIV positive, they suggested that I don't breastfeed because there's a risk of exposure, which is true, there is. And I said, okay, that's fine. I won't breastfeed. Mind you, I did not meet with a lactation consultant or specialist, which ended up harming me after birth. Whether or not you breastfeed, there's certain things that you have to do in order to release the milk that your body is producing. So when I told them that I was going to breastfeed, because I did research and I saw that in other places of the world, mothers that are HIV positive can breastfeed and have not transmitted the virus to their children. And I already knew that my daughter was going to be on antiretrovirals for like the first 3 months of her life. This is going to prevent her from getting HIV. And plus, I'm undetectable. They were like, absolutely not. They brought in the director of labor and delivery and the manager of like, I don't know, whatever other department. I told the lady, I was like, listen, I've done research. I want to breastfeed my child. And they're like, no, if you decide to breastfeed your child in front of us, we're going to have to call the police on you and get child protective services involved. And I think that there was a reason why my mom was there, because I was not prepared for this battle. I did not go in with the support that I needed in order to overcome this. And the fire in me, I'm a fire sign, I'm a Sagittarius. I was ready to fight. And I'm like, well, I guess God is going to use me to make an example. If I have to go to court, then I have to go to court. And my mom, she's like, Bianca, please don't do this. Like, they will take your baby away. Now that I'm looking back, I'm so thankful that I listened to my mom, but I am never going to give birth in an institution like a hospital or something like that. I'm going to have a midwife, I'm going to have a doula. And so when I told her, I'm like, fine, I won't breastfeed, but I need to have this kind of formula. I had gotten the best formula that I had access to at that time. They were like, no, we can only give Similac. And I'm like, I was probably a Similac baby, but Similac is not good for the baby. And I was like, I'm not doing that. And they're like, well, we're not going to face a lawsuit. Being that Similac is the worst, this was like the director or like the supervisor, what have you, of labor and delivery. I know, and I read about the reports about the Similac, but I would rather my child have asthma than my child have HIV. And I didn't have words. We finally came to an agreement, and they said that they were going to get milk from the NICU department. It's frozen milk, stored milk for babies that are in the NICU, and that they were going to give it to my baby so that she wouldn't have to take Similac and she would be able to get breast milk. I give birth, and it was the best moment of my life. My baby came out on my third push, and there was no milk. My baby comes out of my womb, and there's no milk. We wait 2 hours for the milk to come. And my beautiful baby girl just cried and cried, just hungry. She wanted my chest. So something that babies do, which is so incredible. Like, we were created so magnificently. I had her here. She crawls up, like babies literally crawl up and they look for the chest to start feeding. And I couldn't allow her. I was so tempted to. I should have just done it. I'm not even gonna hold you. I couldn't think about that day, the day that I gave birth. Like, I couldn't think about it, because every single time I would think about it, I would just cry and cry, because I felt like I should have done more to protect my daughter. I should have done more. And it's crazy because this is the first time in over 2 years that I speak about this, and I don't feel shame and I don't feel guilt for not knowing better. Now I know Cece, and she is an amazing advocate for HIV positive women. I have all the faith in the world that with her help and with the help of others, I will be able to breastfeed if I want my next child, if I have one.
Baby, I love you.